All right, I'm going to do a little rundown of a patch I did for a live radio performance on KSER 90.7. The program's called The Tunnel, and it's hosted by a fella named Lars. Thank you, Lars, for having me out. It was a lot of fun, and I screwed up at the very beginning and ended up hitting my tune knob on my bass, so the bass is not in the performance. But the performance will be up for a few weeks, and you can go check that out on kser.org. But I thought I would do a patch walkthrough of how I just like the construction blocks of this patch. Had a few people express some interest in me making a video like this, and I want to record this thing again since I screwed it up so bad. So yeah, let's do that. Quick rundown of what I'm using. Varigate 8 for my gate and CV sequencing. Erica drums for my main drum beat. I'm using the Atom, which is a clone of the Mutable Instruments Elements from After Later Audio. I'm using this Telharmonic very, very simply. A VCA, the Monsoon, which is a Clouds clone from After Later Audio as well. 2 Disting Mark IVs, a Tip Top 1 sampler, Chronoblob 2 delay, a Maths voltage-controlled delayed LFO from Dopefer, DivKid mutes, Ornament and Crime from After Later Audio, an Envy, which is an unreleased envelope from After Later Audio, Angle Grinder from Schlappy Engineering, 100 Grit from Schlappy Engineering, and Dirty Murals from Recovery Effects, and a VCA, stereo VCA, and a stereo mixer from Tom Evans Modular. And then you'll see over here I've got the Chase Bliss Audio Mood, and then I've got the Recovery Effects cutting room floor in pedal form because I didn't have room for it in my rack. So what I did to start out is I wanted to make a loop. I wanted this patch to be kind of noisy and then get kind of nice, and then go back to noisy. So the Mood is a micro looper. It's a delay, it's a reverb, and it's crazy. So you can see this light. Well, if you're listening, you can't see it, but there's a red LED blinking right now. So the loop side is not engaged. When I make a noise, it's always listening within the blinks of that LED, within that time period between blinks. So whatever noise I make within that, and then hit the loop button, it will actually captures that loop and starts playing with it. And then you can modify it and run it through the effects. And so I'm going to be using the delay. I got the 100 Grit going here into a stereo VCA. And then I've got that going into the cutting room floor and then into Mood. So let's just hear what that sounds like really quick. So that delay and warbly effect is coming from the cutting room floor. You're not hearing anything from Mood yet. So let's make another noise like that. Let's see. Let's find Okay, so let's make that noise and then engage the loop. So I've got it in the tape mode right now. As you can see, as I mess with the length and the modify knob, it just totally warps this thing. And then there's the ramp or clock, which changes the bit rate and the speed. And it actually does so in octaves. So if you put something melodic in there, it's pretty useful. So let's turn the delay on. I'm going to have the external signal going into the delay as well as the loop. So let's bring another external sound in. Messing with that clock there. You can see when you bring it really low in the bit rate, it gets pretty nasty. So what I did was I got something weird going like that, and then I brought in my sequence. So let's just bring in the kick drum really quick. Let's bring in the snare really quick. So you can hear there's some delay going on. Let's just bring this mood out for now so we can focus on the sounds of this drum. So I've got two different delays going. I've got the Chronoblob and the Dirty Murals. So let's just listen to the Dirty Murals really quick. That's pretty cool. Now let's listen to just the Chronoblob. And then them together. Pretty cool. And then I've just got the dry signal of that drum beat going into a channel as well, just to keep it beefy. Then you can hear the bass line coming from the angle grinder. I've got two outputs from the angle grinder going into VCAs. You can hear the one right now just kind of faintly. And now I'm going to bring the VCA with the other output into the mix, and then that output is going to go into the tape delay of the Disting Mark IV. So it just adds a little bit more depth to that bass line. And now we'll bring in the main melody. Actually, let's check out the sample really quick from the Tip Top One. It's very simple, but I'm controlling the pitch with a really fast LFO, and then I'm running that out into the reverb from Disting and controlling the wet dry with that same LFO, so it gets it kind of a. And then I just got a gate for that kind of every once in a while. And now we'll bring in the main piece. And that is from the Atom. So what the Atom does, it's pretty crazy. It's got this trigger in, so you can hear I'm using a gate to pluck it, basically. And I'm using the same sequence that the bass line is using for the Atom to keep those same three notes going in that same succession. But you'll hear like some flutters and some changes. And that is because this is in chord mode. And I'm using an LFO into the geometry in, which acts as the input to affect the chord position, or however you want to call it. And that's what's kind of giving it that dynamic fluttery change. And then so it has built-in reverb, which is pretty cool. So that's where that reverb's coming from. But it doesn't quite sound punchy enough. And what's really cool about the Atom, much like the Rings, it has a resonator in. So I'm using the noise output from the Make Noise Telharmonic. I'm running that into a VCA. So you can hear when it'll trigger, you can hear some noise bleed into it. And then I'm also running that the Atom into the 100 grit Schlappy Engineering. Which that'll be more noticeable here in a second when I make this a little bit more interesting. And what's cool about the Atom is it's got a dampening. So right now, if I turn that all the way down, it basically acts as a release. And I can turn that up. So you can hear that LFO doing more with the chord now that it has more of a tail. And then the brightness makes that just a little bit more punchier. Oh, I forgot to mention, I'm also running the Atom into the Monsoon, and that's where we're getting that really weird, fluttery, glitchy sounding reverb on that. So let's actually just turn everything else off. So if I turn that down, that's just the Atom. Now let's turn the wet on the Monsoon back up. I can turn the pitch down and slow that. These faders on the Monsoon really make it easy and fun to use. So yeah. Oh, I'll show you what I was talking about. With this more open, you'll be able to hear the angled, or the 100 grit. Let's turn the... Bring this bass line back in. So what's cool about this, what I like about this piece that I did with the Atom is you can build it kind of, let's see here. We'll bring in a little bit of that tip top one for a little extra percussion to make it a little more interesting. We can bring in this noise. And what I like, I'm going to set the microphone down here, but this is where the bright and the dampening can really be fun to just kind of bring your whole patch into life here. And there you have it. There's the patch that I made for KSER. Go to kser.org if you want to hear my totally messed up live performance of it. It'll be up there for a few weeks. Thanks again to Lars for having me, and I hope this video and walkthrough on the podcast were entertaining for you.